Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Bub, bub. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. That's any indication how this show is going to go tonight. I am your host, Eric. Welcome to Sports Unfolded with my main man, Ron. How are you tonight?
How are you doing? For some reason, I couldn't see, so I had to get the.
This is Season 3, Episode 24, Gold Nuggets and Knights. We will explain the title as we go along. Again, so excited to be here with you, joining us live.
We have to explain that?
We may have to. We may have to. Maybe somebody's hungry right now and they're thinking nuggets.
Oh, actually, I am kind of hungry now that you said that.
You see? And then maybe they're thinking Knights, but they're spelling it a different way. So
yeah, maybe, I guess.
You know, so we are here. We are a weekly sports talk show. Check us out every Friday night live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We are going to cover so many topics tonight, but we're going to start off with our leadoff story, and that's the Denver Nuggets, who are the 2023 NBA champions after defeating the Miami Heat in 5 games, Ron. Do you think the Nuggets can now become the next NBA dynasty?
They actually could, because, when you look at, the dynamics of this team, obviously the fact that Murray and Joker are the key factors. If they get tied up for like the next 5 years or so, I mean, then you're just throwing another piece with them. I mean, that's a good start right there.
Yeah, listen, the best player in the NBA right now has to be Nikola Jokic.
Oh, absolutely.
Again, what he did in the playoffs, 30 points, 14 rebounds, 7.2 assists in the finals. The man just dominated. The question I would have, though, is, again, they had one thing work in their favor that hasn't happened in years past, and that's staying injury-free. Jamal Murray.
Right.
Dan, thanks for joining tonight. Right, Jamal Murray staying healthy. Michael Porter Jr. has not been healthy the last couple of years, so those things didn't happen this year. Aaron Gordon played quality basketball. To me, there's a lot of teams out there that still have the capability of defeating this team if healthy. And again, Phoenix Suns come to mind as first and foremost. Depending on what they do, Chris Paul and what pieces they get, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are 1-2 combination that could be fared in the NBA next season. The Lakers are still the Lakers. Look, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And
I did that a few weeks back.
Right? But, again, if they're healthy, Sacramento took a big step forward last season. And we'll talk about Ja Morant later, but the Memphis Grizzlies only losing him for 25 games, that gives them a good opportunity. We're doing great, Dan. Thanks for asking. How are you tonight, my friend? So I would look at it that way. And then you can't sleep on the Warriors. They still have one of the best players in the league.
Really out there in the West. I mean, when you think about it, just about every team out there is one player away from winning a championship. I mean, they got some 8 solid teams, really, that are really a piece away. And we know that Minnesota thought they had their piece, and I don't know what happened there, because that team should have been a contender.
And then you still got to look at the East. Right. And the teams they would have to face in the finals, and listen, Miami, we know they're going to make a move. What that move is,
they have to now, because they know they're close,
right? And then you still have whatever Boston's going to be or do.
No, we're not doing that.
We'll talk about that later as well. So if I said to you, Ron, over under the chances of them being the finals champions again next season, would you say there's a better shot or a less shot of that happening next season?
Well, there's always a less chance, right? Because you did win one. And we don't know how hungry this team is going to be going into the next season. So, so you never really know. But what I do know is if they name somebody else MVP next season, that's going to open up another can of worms for the Joker.
Glad you're doing better, Dan. To your point, I think that's going to be the biggest key. We've seen that those championship letdowns the following season based on the fact that they're not as hungry, they don't need it as much. Where do you rank Nikolai Jokic now in the NBA though, as one of the is he the top player in the league?
I'd say he has to be because I mean what he's accomplishing is just ridiculous. I mean, you're comparing his numbers now to legends of the game. When you're talking, when you when you put his name alongside of players like say Wilt and Bill Russell and stuff like that, some of the greatest players to ever play the game. I mean, you have to start saying he might be the best player of the league right now.
And the way he dominates, it's not a way or a fashion that you sit back and say it's flashy. He does a lot of creative things. If you look at him, he looks awkward out there. He
looks awkward. He looks slow, but yet no matter how slow he appears, you can't come up with that steal or that block or anything. You just don't do it. For some reason, it's like smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. So we could talk about the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. Wasn't the most athletic quarterback.
No.
But sometimes what's up here makes the biggest difference. And that's what Jokic has over, I think, most players in this league right now.
Absolutely.
He just knows how to make the right plays, where to be at the right time. And again, he can shoot the ball, which makes such a big difference. Jamal Murray and his, I guess, growth in this series.
He was fantastic.
Right? Does that elevate him as well in this league now and say, look, obviously, if you got a healthy Jamal Murray, it's like watching Michael and Scotty. Like, that's his Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's actually, it's almost brilliant to watch because, when you talk about the athleticism of Jordan, that isn't, Joker's game. That's not his game. He's not going to wow you with these dunks from from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
It's just different. He's so much smarter than everybody else on the court.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Not only Denver celebrating, Dan, great. That is some great news. Congratulations on that. Cancer's a nasty, illness.
Absolutely.
And, the fact that you could beat it, that is phenomenal. Congratulations on that as well, my friend.
Absolutely.
Ron, let's talk some NFL. And let's talk about our New England Patriots. So, a certain wide receiver decided to stop by in Foxborough and visit the Patriots. Do you think this team can afford not to sign DeAndre Hopkins for this upcoming season?
Well, they have to sign him in order to contend. I mean, because you're not going to come out of the basement, unless you have a threat offensively. And right now there is no threat, and from what I've been hearing coming out of Foxborough, even though I'm way over here in Oakland today, what I'm hearing is Juju's injury could be, an issue.
Yeah, listen, Juju hasn't been healthy for the majority of his career, so that could be a problem. I would say this: last season's leading wide receiver receptions leader was Jacoby Myers, 67 receptions, 804 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's no longer with the team.
Yeah, that kind of stinks.
Juju had 78 catches last year, 933 yards, 3 touchdowns, but who was throwing him the football?
Exactly.
That was Patrick Mahomes. That could be a problem. If you look at overall what they have at wide receiver, Devontae Parker, 31 catches, Kendrick Bourne, 35 catches, not very good. Hunter Henry at tight end, 41 catches. Ron, do you know who their leading wide receptions leader was last season?
Receptions leader.
Receptions leader.
Would that be a running back?
That would be Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
So this team cannot afford to not have a wide receiver be a legitimate threat when they're on the field. That's what's going to ultimately make Mac Jones a better player. When defenses have to roll to a side or have to contend with a wide receiver that you can just chuck it up there and he can make a play, that makes a difference. If you're going to keep slinging it to the running back out of the backfield, Mac Jones is going to have the same season he had last season. It's not going to be very good.
No. And again, we go through this situation, Mac Jones took a lot of criticism for last season. But I got to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the situation was just awful for him. He had really no guidance last season, and he was a man on an island by himself, to be honest with you. I like Myers, and I like Kendrick Bourne, and I like Stevenson. I like them, to a point where they're nice pieces to have.
Yes.
But you have to have the piece.
Yeah. They don't scare you. I don't think a defense sits back and, that defensive coordinator the night before is tossing and turning. How am I going to stop, Ramondre Stevens, or how am I going to stop Kendrick Bourne? That doesn't happen. You have a DeAndre Hopkins. All of a sudden now you start to sit back and go, okay, well, Gesicki, who's now one of your tight ends, they're going to try to open him up by using DeAndre Hopkins. And now when you run Ramondre Stevens out of the backfield, it's, you're taking a corner deep and a safety deep because they're trying to chase DeAndre Hopkins. Listen, he's not the same player he was 5 years ago.
No.
He's still a legitimate wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Right.
Bill Belichick needs to get off his hands and just pull the trigger on this one and make it happen. There shouldn't be even a question. This team has over $13 million in cap space right now.
Yeah.
Saving that money isn't doing you a lick of good.
No. And, you can, pretend that everything is all, fine and dandy, with the offense because you have Bill O'Brien now. But you still don't have,
pieces.
If you're counting on Juju to be the savior here, you just replaced him with the same guy that you had.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he's literally the same thing. And frankly, he doesn't stay healthy like Myers does. I'm afraid when he goes through the middle of the field, he gets popped and he's going to be down. That's what I'm afraid of. But if you have Hopkins, out there, then that's going to leave Juju wide open at times, and that's going to make him a better player.
Yeah, listen, you can only be as good an offensive coordinator as the guys that you have on the field. If you don't have playmakers, I don't care how good of a game you call. We can sit back and say, yes, Josh McDaniels called a great game and he was a great offensive coordinator, but he also had some players. He had a quarterback, obviously the best ever, but you had like a Julian Edelman. You had a Wes Welker. You had a Randy Moss. These are legitimate wide receivers.
Right.
These aren't guys that that didn't get 100 catch seasons.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, we've talked about this for the last, 2-3 years. Tom Brady is able to mask a lot of problems. I got to think that, I'm okay with Mac Jones being the quarterback, but he's not Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Like, I think he has a good brain, in between those ears that he's going to make up for a lot of mistakes, but he's not going to be able to make up for the mistakes that the front office is doing.
Agreed. Listen, we could sit back and say Tom Brady, right? And we think about all the wide receivers that he had. When was he the most successful? When he had a Randy Moss. They broke the touchdown record for wide receiver and quarterback at the time, because now you gave him a legitimate number one. We don't know what Mac Jones is because he's never had a legitimate number one wide receiver.
No.
So he hasn't had a guy you can just you see the difference in the progression when these quarterbacks start to get a top-notch wide receiver.
Yeah.
And what a difference it makes.
And
Josh
protection.
Allen. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Ron.
No, and protection. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like you got to protect him too.
Yeah, the offensive line. But Josh Allen didn't become Josh Allen until he got Stephon Diggs. Then all of a sudden we saw what kind of quarterback he could be.
Right.
Give Mac Jones at least that opportunity to say, look, we gave you a top-notch wide receiver. Maybe you're not very good.
Yeah.
But at least now we can say, well, he had pieces and he couldn't succeed with them. But you're going to give him the second string wide receivers and expect him to be a star quarterback. It's never going to happen.
Right. And they could actually destroy his career.
Yeah. Agreed. Dan, thank you for chiming in on that. Right. They need a star wide receiver. I think this is an automatic. He should have never left Foxborough. How they let him leave Foxborough is a question in my mind today, because you're just giving another team an opportunity.
Yeah. And that's just it. Now you're giving him the time to think, well, hey, Kansas City is knocking. I could be out there. I could win a Super Bowl with them. Because, I mean, they did it last year. I'm better than Juju. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed, my friend. Ron, great discussion there on the Patriots. Anybody that watches afterwards, chime in, give us some comments on what you think the Patriots should have done or will do with the DeAndre Hopkins situation.
Absolutely.
But, Ron, we're going to go on to our new favorite segment. That's the starting five.
Yeah, this is a great segment.
Starting five today, we have to have 5 players on our starting five with the name Ron. We did this one for you, my friend, my co-host, my amigo, our 3 years running here on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We said, who's our top 5 Rons and how would we start them off? I am first this week, so I will give you my number 5 and then we'll go back and forth.
Yeah. Isn't your number 1 going to be Ron Jeremy?
You know what? I had him on my list, and then it's a different kind of balls he's hitting. Wow. And we're off. The show is off the rails. Let's have some fun tonight, people. If you're joining us live, let us know. Would Ron Jeremy be on your top 5? Ron, I will ask you this, my friend. I got a 5B before I give you a true 5. And that would be you, Ron, with your...
How come I don't get the 1B like Kenny?
No, I mean, Kenny, the big dog. You can't. That's the big dog.
All right. I'm going to have to rework my contract.
All right. Deal. So at number 5, I actually have... And the only reason why I put him at 5 is because he still hasn't really matured in a way that you say, look, we know what he is short term. Let's see what long term. But Ronald Acuna Jr.,
Oh, come on.
he's batting 284 for his career, 135 home runs, a rookie of the year, 3 All-Stars, 2 Silver Sluggers. He is considered one of the top 5 baseball players in the league today. Ronald Acuna Jr.
You got to give him some love. Seasons.
I'm giving him some love, man. I feel like he's
the
guy.
Of his career.
He's the guy right now.
He is not the guy. I didn't even consider him.
Of course you wouldn't, because you don't know how to. Your top 5, your starting 5 is going to be horrible. Who's your 5th? Let's hear this garbage.
Before I say my 5th.
Oh, here we go.
I just want to recognize that I didn't know whether or not I could put Ronda Rousey on.
Do it up if you want to do it. It's for you. You do. It's your list.
I don't
know if they call her Ron. They might.
I call her Ron.
She would punch you right in the mouth.
Yeah, she would, and she has.
Dream on, my friend. Dream on.
No, but so I considered Ronda Rousey. I also considered Ron Hill, former Olympian.
I mean, what do you got? A starting 17?
I'm just saying.
It's 5. 5.
I'm just
5.
saying.
Okay,
I
considerations.
Acknowledge them.
Okay, good job.
Because Ron Hill in 1970 won the Boston Marathon. Just saying.
Nice, good, interesting nugget. That nugget, gold nugget.
Again, see the categories.
I like it. Are you going to give me a 5, or are we going to just?
I'm actually looking for a 5.
My goodness.
So my number 5 is Ron Guidry, former Yankee hurler.
He's on my list.
And
Not
I
at
say
5.
hurler meaning puke because I don't like putting Yankees on here.
Oh, here we go.
But I think you do it purposely, knowing that I have to put these people on.
All the time.
You did it with Ken Dryden. You knew I was going to pick Ken Dryden, the goaltender.
Montreal, yeah, Canadian. Yep.
You do it to me on purpose, I think.
All the time.
So Ron Guidry.
Ron Guidry, your number 5. My number 4. And his numbers aren't great. 13.8 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.9 assists. He was on the all-rookie team. But 5 championships. And that would be one Mr. Ron Hopper. Ron Hopper. If he didn't blow out his knees, the kind of player he would have been like that Michael Jordan B. Like he would have been. I'm telling you, when he was healthy, man, that man could have played. But 5 championships, I had to put him on the list in my starting 5 Rons. Ron Hopper at number 4.
Yeah, he wasn't good enough. My number 4, which you should be ashamed, and Brian's going to come at you. I wish Brian was on because I have number 4, Ronaldinho.
Do you pick anybody with it like just Ron? No, he's got Ronda, Rondino, whatever.
That's a form of Ron.
Okay, it's a form of Ron. Now here we go. Ronaldo is a form of Ron. Are you going Ronaldo also?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you are. You are horrible. Okay,
hey,
is that your 4?
What I'm putting the players that belong on here.
Okay.
None of this guys that have been in the league for 2 years or guys that are averaging 9 points.
13.8.
Ron Hopper on their list.
5 championships.
It doesn't matter if he's not good.
5. We don't count it. Again, now here we go. You not counting championships. But anyway. All right. At number 3. Should have been higher on your list. Ron Guidry. 170 and 91 in his career. 3.29 ERA. 1 Cy Young. 5 Gold Gloves. 4 All-Stars. 2 ERA titles. 1,778 strikeouts. And 2 championships. Ron Guidry, one of the best pitchers.
Everybody that I have above Ron Guidry has better numbers than Ron Guidry. I'm sorry. That's the facts.
Okay. Number 3, then. Go ahead. Let me hear your number 3.
Number 3, Ron Francis.
Okay.
Okay, so when you want to talk numbers, let's talk some numbers with Ron Francis as soon as I find it.
549 goals, 1,249 assists, 1,798 points, 3 Bings, a Selke, a Clancy, and 2 Cups.
Right. So those are numbers.
Those are numbers. That's why he's ahead of Ron Guidry on my list at number 2.
Okay. See, but this
Ron
is what
Francis
I'm saying.
at 2 because he should be at 2.
Look at those Ronaldinho numbers.
Here we go, Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho, 2-time best FIFA player.
FIFA.
2013 South American Player of the Year.
I cannot.
3-time domestic league champion, 1 Champions League championship, 1 World Cup, 114.
Oh, look at Kenny. Kenny has joined us. Thank you. Ron Artest. But it's not Ron Artest anymore. Meta World Peace.
Yeah, that's right. So he's ineligible.
He can't be on Meta World Peace. But number 2, I had Francis. Who's yours 2?
My number 2 is Ronaldo.
See, I can't with you.
Why? Why? He's the 3-time best FIFA player of the year. 3 times.
Okay. Go ahead.
2-time La Liga champ.
I'll take Ron Artest over that because, again, at least his name's Ron.
2-time world. Ronaldo is Spanish for Ron.
Okay.
2-time FIFA World Cup. He's won.
He's Portuguese, by the way.
Silver ball and a golden ball. Again, see, gold. 175 goals, 26 assists. This guy is.
My fans out there live. Can you
One of
please
the
tell
best
Ron
players.
this is horrible, a travesty what he's doing to this thing.
It's not a
Because
travesty.
now it's if I didn't specify first names and you had like whoever Ron.
Just because you don't like soccer or football, it
Just for
doesn't mean
Kicks. I
that
watch
these
Just for
guys
Kicks
don't
all the
belong
time.
on this list.
I love Just for Kicks. His mama calls him Ron. I call him Ron. Ella. What's Kenny? My number one, true Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
Greatest football player, cornerback, safety. Basically revolutionized the position. 63 interceptions, 10 Pro Bowls, 6 All-Pros, 4-time champion. Ronnie Lott, my number one Ron on my starting 5.
Yeah, I have Ronnie Lott as well. You know, he was penciled in before I even looked up any Ronnies. Because
Kenny, would you have Ron Hopper on your list? Kenny, would you have Ron Hopper on your list? That's what I need to know.
There's no way Ron Hopper is better than Ronaldo or Ronaldinho. There's no way. Not in any universe.
Counting just straight Ron, not Ronaldo. I never heard Ron being called Ronaldo. Is that when this show is being broadcast overseas in Spain and all those? Is that what they do? They just the subtitle goes to Ronaldo.
Yes, my name
when I say Ron,
in Spain is Ronaldo.
So when it's translated over, people
told me.
When we go into and you change the words into Hispanic, a Latin, and this is it just says Ronaldo on it.
Yes, it does.
I love it. It's phenomenal, my friend. You are by far off your rocker tonight.
I have the best list all the time in this because I look at everybody. I don't just stick to 2 sports.
I had a ton of sports. What are you talking about? I had baseball, I had basketball, I had football. How's that 2 sports?
That's 3. Okay, so you have 3.
Okay, you had 2 soccers.
How do you not have Ron Francis on your list?
I had Ron Francis.
Okay, so then you had 4.
Oh, hockey. See, there you go. I had the same amount as you.
But see, that's the point. You only look at what's in the box. You don't look at outside
I even looked at there was a boxer. And I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Ron Lyle is his name.
Okay. That's what it was. Lyle. And I almost put him on. I mean, but then again, he didn't win a championship. He won a gold.
He didn't. That's
he won a gold.
Wrong on that.
He won a gold.
But I look at the Olympics. I look at all.
I looked at the Olympics.
Yeah, you looked at it.
Ron.
You saw those circles. It's like, oh no, there's nobody there.
Ronaldo, let's move on. Ronaldo. I'm calling you Ronaldo the rest of the show now.
That's fine. I expect you to do that.
Ronaldo, the NBA draft is coming up. And Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, what is that name?
I cannot. Wembanyama.
Wembanyama. Really? That's what you're gonna go with?
I cannot. Is the hype real though, Ron? Is he going to be a legitimate star in the NBA?
Well, that's always a tough choice because he could just play in the summer leagues and blow out his knee or something. Oh wait, didn't somebody just do that?
Chet Holmgren, right?
Right. So Wembanyama is like everybody else. They're a prospect. When they come into the league, let's see what happens.
7'5" with guard handles. He's listed at 230 pounds. That's where I start to question this. He does not look like a 230 pound.
Well, no. I mean,
and I know he's
wearing some chains or something that day.
Right. And so my question would be this is the physicality.
Chains.
Right. The physicality in the NBA. Yes, he's got extremely long length. But I would question the size of like the Holmgren thing. Like to me, I feel like he's not going to be as
Bradley,
right? Like I'm just curious to see. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs have the 1 pick. We know what they've done with the big men at the 1. David Robinson, Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to expose a big man in their system in what they're able to do, but I don't know. I don't know if I truly believe that 230 pounds. That's what's scaring me right now is that will he be undersized in the NBA?
I think he's going to be a good player. It's just whether or not he's going to be able to match up. Is he going to be, physical, or is he going to be like just sitting there,
Olivia
you
Newton-John.
know,
Olivia
taking
Newton-John.
taking 3-pointers,
Let's get physical. Yeah, right. I don't listen. He can shoot. He can defend, but to me, again, the speed. He's had a lot of experience. 4 years in the professional leagues overseas, so it's not like he hasn't played against, grown men.
Right.
He's not playing high school kids. I don't know. He's a unicorn. And we look at Jokic, right? When Jokic came out, 41st player overall, right? Obviously a different skill set, but sometimes these overseas players, we just take them for granted because what we see in America, it's a different brand of basketball.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to think if San Antonio is going to pick him, he's probably going to be pretty good. Okay, because I don't think Pop is going to make a mistake on talent. And that he's going to have a lot to do with who they pick. So if they pass him up, buyer beware.
And I think the quality under him, there's no legitimate superstar. There's some good players. There's nobody you sit back and go, wow, like there's a serious debate on 1, 2, 3,
exactly.
like last season. I think he's by far, and I'm not Wamba-Yama.
Why not just call him Yama?
Yama, ban Yama. I'll go with Victor. We'll see. Drafts. The season's less than a draft's less than a week away, so we will see. I'm sure we'll talk about it
next week.
Isn't that insane? And we'll see where they go. I don't know if the Spurs even put him in the summer league. They may not want to chance that and risk injury.
I wouldn't.
So we'll have to see what happens in the draft. Tune in for that. I'm sure we'll be talking about it next week. But there was one more big story that came out today, Ron, and that's Ronaldo. I'm sorry for all my Latin fans out there. Did the NBA get it? Did the NBA get it right? Ja Morant suspended 25 games. Do you agree with that suspension?
I mean, no. No, yeah, I mean, what are you trying to accomplish with that? Like, seriously, what are you trying to accomplish with that? I mean, is that a deterrent? I mean, he's still going to make millions, for the season.
He will lose $7.5 million during the suspension.
Okay.
And
so
if
that's just goes to show you what he's making.
And $33 million next season. Here's a big key though. The new rule, 65 games. So now he is not eligible for MVP or any of those other awards, which ultimately gets you more money, all NBA, any of those type of things. So he's going to lose on that end as well.
Yeah, he's not losing. Look, he's getting a boatload of money. He's not losing. He doesn't care. He does not care. He is clearly a player that is all about himself. When you look across and you see Joker there, he was, congratulating, or consoling, however you want to put it, for the Heat before he even started celebrating the win. Okay, he didn't run his mouth, saying, "Oh, we're just going to do this and we're going to do that and we're the best team. The West can't beat us." But this is what you get from Ja. You get a lot of that lip service, and then you get a lot of that other stuff that apparently is not very good.
Yeah.
I
think the biggest key, right? So this is 3 times more than what he received the first time. So he got an 8-game suspension. The key was, I think he sat in an office with Adam Silver.
Yep.
And basically said, look, I'll never do it again. I learned my lesson. And then you did it again. And I think, honestly, I was surprised that it was as little as it was.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to go more games than this. And I could have saw 40, 50 games. I would have been probably a little more receptive to this than 25. Because I still feel like the majority of the season, if you really break it down, that's not even 1/3 of their season.
Right.
So he still has an opportunity to make the playoffs, to do some things. He's still going to be the face of the NBA. They don't lose because now here they go. If he plays well, they're making money. Nike has not decided to pull anything from him. So it's almost like we rewarded the bad behavior with saying, look, here's a short vacation. Here's a couple months off.
Right.
Take your time, relax, do what you got to do. Just don't make any more videos, holding up weapons, and we should be okay. There's some conditions before he can come back on what they want to see, but we've seen this before with players.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. To me, the way you heard him is you say, look, you can't play at all. You may not play more than half the season. Now, all of a sudden, it really start to think about it. Before I put that gun on that video on Instagram, let me think about what's my next suspension look like.
Yeah. Instead of, oh, well, I'll still make like $30 million this year, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I agree with you on that aspect of it. Hopefully he learns from this. I don't know if he will. I think you're right, Ron. I think these players now are selfish. It's all about me. That's why you see all they care about is how many points they score, not if their teams win championships. They're not willing to take less money to try to win a championship. It's about what's best for me. And I'm not saying that any player should sit back and say, look, I'm going to lose tens of millions to play with somebody else. But if you took $5 million less to get a better player to make your team better, wouldn't that make more sense and you win a championship than, sitting back and saying, hey, I'll score 30 points a game and never sniff the playoffs. But who am I? I don't know.
Stephon Marbury? Oh, that was not a.
That was not a question, my friend. That was not a question. I'm surprised Kenny didn't chime in. Jackass. I think we could say jackass.
Jackass.
I think we're allowed to say that. I like that. That is pretty good, Dan. That's what Ja stands for. And right now, look, that's exactly what he's doing. We'll see if he learns his lesson. I mean, he's already put out another apology letter on Twitter, whatever, Instagram, wherever he did it. Probably Instagram, because he seems to like that platform more than any other. But
like, how does he not even get banned from it?
I don't know. And I will say this, hopefully he doesn't shoot himself in the foot and do it again. No, too soon. Too soon. Ron, let's talk some Major League Baseball. Ronaldo, Chakra, thanks for joining. You got to make sure you stay. Chakra last week, 4-0 in predictions.
Nice.
A perfect 4-0, Chakra. You are now at 500, 6-6.
Nice job.
Stay tuned to the end of the show. Give us your predictions. See if we can get over 500 this week. Great job. But that is Las Vegas, my friend, and that is where the Oakland A's will be moving to. I don't know if they're going to keep the name, but they're going to become the Vegas A's.
Oh, my God, I hope
I don't know if I like that. Nice. Yes, that's it. Nice. 4-0 last week. So the stadium's been approved by the Nevada governor. It's pretty much a done deal. Is this a good move for baseball? Do you agree with what baseball's doing?
Well, I mean, is it going to be owned by the same guy?
Yes. John J. Fisher is the owner.
Right. And this is the thing, Well, although, I mean, I look at the big picture of things. Yes, I get it. It's going to be better for the team to move because they're going to have a better stadium than the one that I have behind me.
Yes.
But when you think about the amount of money teams are making, why the hell should Oakland pay for the stadium? You know what I'm saying? It's mind-boggling the amount of money that they make, and they don't want to put a dime into building a stadium. They don't want to do it. So Oakland did the right thing and said, you know what? Pack up, leave, get your butt out of here.
I would say this too, Ron. Is Vegas considered a big market? Like, is that a major market? Do you think that the market's going to be better for them there?
No.
So the payroll and the way they try to skate through and get these bottom of the barrels, 30,000, right?
Okay,
only
let me tell you,
30,000
I don't
seats. It's going
care
to be a
if they
small
were-
stadium.
Look, if they were moving to, say, Boston and giving us a team that can actually win, I don't think they would change their philosophy anyway. I think you're still going to have the bottom barrel salaries, and they're not going to change that. I think
So,
that philosophy is sticking.
right. So John Fisher, the owner of the Oakland A's, he's owned the team now officially, like the majority owner for the last 8 years. They made the playoffs 3 of those 8 years. But again, not getting top quality players. Anytime they had a guy that was even worth anything, they would trade him at the trade deadline and kind of try to get young pieces again to try to keep rebuilding.
And
Money ball.
there is something to be said about that. Look, if you have a good scouting team,
Tampa Bay.
a good, foundation of what you're trying to do, you don't need to have those big salaries of players
Yeah.
to win a championship. You just got to put the pieces together right. Now, when you have a free agent, you trade that free agent for prospects, but you got to make sure you get those prospects that you need to replace, what you're going to be giving up in free agency. I mean, in trades for these guys that will become a free agent. And so I think they do a pretty good job of basically recycling. And when you get those young players that can put it together and follow, directions of what your manager is trying to accomplish with them, I think you can, win with those teams. It's just very difficult.
Best example would be Tampa Bay.
Yes.
They've been consistently good.
Yes.
We sit back every year and we go, like, there's no way. You look at the roster, you look at some of the
we
players.
did the same thing again this year.
And they're doing it again, right? They're the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
The key would be, though, that the owner has to be willing to let the baseball people run the team,
right?
Make those decisions. I don't know if he's going to do that. And again, I don't. To Dan's point, if it's on a 30,000 seat stadium, Chattanooga Cluckers, that might be the next big thing. Ron, I do want to ask you this because this came up in my when I was at work the other day, and I'm just curious because since we're talking about teams moving. Little rumor out there, and I know you're my hockey guy, and we're not on the NHL yet, but I want to ask you this. The Arizona Coyotes. There's a little rumor out there, possibly back to the Hartford, or coming to Hartford, becoming the Hartford Whalers again, bringing that franchise back to the NHL. Your thoughts on that? Like, is that, like, do these moves sometimes have a legitimate validity to them that you want to see this happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Hartford as one of those markets because when you think about, Connecticut, a lot of those hockey fans are going to be Bruin fans or Ranger fans for the most part, and then some will even be like Islander fans. So I don't see it being Hartford. Now, with that being said, Arizona is out west, right? So you're looking at a western city if they move to somewhere, and it keeps coming to me. Seattle makes sense.
They got the Kraken.
I know. I'm just kidding with you.
Oh, I was going to say, what are we talking about here?
No, I mean, they're talking about
Oakland.
Somebody somewhere in
Oakland's going to look for a team.
Oakland might want them, and wouldn't it be funny if they make a stadium for them?
Yeah.
But I think they're really looking at possibly somewhere in Texas. So, I know you have Dallas, but Houston is a possibility.
Yep. Houston, stay tuned.
I think Houston is more obvious than Connecticut.
Wow, Dan in Connecticut doesn't deserve a franchise. Connecticut.
No, they don't.
Interesting. Okay.
They don't.
Interesting. So, Ron, it's face-off time, and this week's face-off, we are deciding which Boston team had a more disappointing season: the Celtics or the Bruins. I am first this week, so I am picking, and I'm gonna shock you on this one. I'm going the Celtics. I am going to argue for the Celtics that they had a more disappointing season.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to start us off, and I'm going to tell you why the Celtics had a more disappointing season. The Boston Celtics were favored to win the NBA Finals this season. They went to 6 games last year against the Golden State Warriors. They were clear-cut the favorites this season. The expectation was that they would get to the finals and most likely win it. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, did not get it. Do you know that they're already the Eastern Conference Finals favorites for next season as well? There is so much, right? There is so much expectations on the Boston Celtics to win a championship based on the young talent that they have, that their season was so disappointing this year because they didn't even make it to the finals. The Boston Bruins were not expected to do what they did. The Boston Celtics were expected to go to the finals. That's why they are the most disappointing of the two teams this season.
Yeah, see, I'm just the opposite because, you know, a realistic sports fan looked at that team and said, no.
Dan said I won, by the way.
Okay, no. I mean, stop.
Thank you, Dan.
Look, a realistic fan would know that that team was the same team they were trying to run it back with, and they knew that there was going to be problems. Even if they didn't have to play Miami, they would have lost to Milwaukee anyway. So that I don't buy at all. When you look at when they're entering the playoffs, the Celtics were in like complete disarray at that point. You know, they weren't playing well. I knew they weren't going to do very well. But when you look at
Eastern Conference Finals,
yeah, I know, but that's not very well compared to what they should have done.
Okay.
You know, but the Bruins had broken the record for points in a season. Okay.
In regular season means nothing.
That team was sound from top to bottom, and they put all the eggs into this season in that basket. You know, so they put themselves out there, and they knew they were going to have a problem this season, you know, this upcoming season with salaries, but they went for it because they knew they were that close at the trade deadline. They were clearly the best team in hockey, probably history at that point. But when you lose to an 8 seed, sort of like the Celtics did, but only in the first round, you know, that is so disheartening, and it could set the franchise back like 5 years now.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. We do NBA, NFL, NHL preview shows, correct?
Right.
Okay. Did you pick the Boston Bruins to be the representative of the Eastern Conference when we did our NHL?
No.
Okay. Did you pick the Boston Celtics to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA?
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
You picked Boston?
I picked Milwaukee.
I picked Milwaukee. You picked Boston.
No, don't.
You and Kenny both picked Boston.
Go look it up, Eric. I picked Milwaukee. Kenny picked Boston. I picked Milwaukee.
You guys still had them going. You didn't have Boston going.
I did not have Boston going.
You did not have the Bruins. That's my point. That's why it's more disappointing.
But I had Boston playing Carolina.
Yeah, who they lost to is very disappointing. Agreed, but then the team they lost to got it to the Stanley Cup.
But I'm saying I did not pick Milwaukee. I mean, I did not pick.
I did not pick Milwaukee. You got it, Ron. Ronaldo picked them.
I did not pick Boston to make it
Ronaldo
to the conference finals. And in fact, I even told you they were going to be more disappointing this year.
The victory is mine. Dan already told me the victory is mine. Thank you, Dan.
No.
Smart man.
No.
Smart man.
No, I clearly win that one because your argument is just ridiculous. Because
how's my argument ridiculous?
It's ridiculous because when a team has the best record going into the playoffs, and that is in history, that is bigger disappointment. The Bruins went out and invested in all kinds of players.
I'm not disagreeing with that part of it. What I'm saying to you is
a bigger disappointment.
But they weren't expected to do what they did.
What did the Celtics do? Nothing.
The Boston Celtics had the best record in the NBA until after the All-Star break, right? Because everybody said they're clear-cut the best team in the league.
Where'd they finish?
Second.
Right.
In the East. And the point was, though, that all of a sudden they could turn on the switch. They got through the first 2 rounds, maybe not as pretty as you
Wait a
wanted it
minute.
to.
They turned on the switch. The only reason why they got through the first couple of rounds because those teams stunk.
Okay, so when they were playing the Heat and they were down 0-3 and then they won 3 straight, Ron, we were Ronaldo, whatever you want to be called at this point. We were all sitting back saying the Celtics, there's no way they lose this now after winning 3 straight, that they would lose game 7, because the expectation was that they've done so much to get back into that series that they're going to the finals because they were the better team.
I picked Miami to win game 7.
I think we're going to go revisit that too.
You need to go revisit.
Yeah, that's why you're down in predictions as well.
Go revisit. First of all, your homework for this week, go revisit the preview show.
Okay.
And then revisit the episode before game 7.
I will do that. I will do that. Let's continue with this NHL theme, and we're going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. They are the Stanley Cup champions, Ron. How'd they pull this off?
They had to play Florida.
Who beat the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, and Carolina, right.
Right.
So
Who beat some of the top-notch teams.
And then exceeded. Oh, and that's right. I forgot they injured Kachuk.
Yes. Game 5. That hurt. They had several injuries, the Panthers.
Not only did he got hurt 2 games before that.
Didn't they say they had like 5 guys that need surgery?
Yeah.
Like 5 guys that need surgery.
Kachuk got his bell rung in game 3, and I don't think he should have been playing in game 4. I think he had a concussion, and I think that was overlooked because it was Kachuk. Yeah,
listen, Vegas also the top scoring team in the playoffs this season. Average 4.00 goals per game. They were 4th best in goals against at 2.59, 920 save percentage, which was 3rd. Jack Eichel led the entire postseason in points with 26. I think it all just came together at the right time. Question would be, though, did they have the right coach, and would that have made a difference for the Bruins?
No. I think this was squarely on players. Look, they played horrible in their own end. I don't know what to even say about why they lost. Florida rose to the occasion. They got bullied.
Yeah, they look like a completely different team, right?
Yeah,
they got destroyed.
They got bullied by Florida.
Yeah,
and when you
vice versa, they got bullied by Vegas.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's the facts. And so when you lose Kachuk, basically for game 4 and 5, he was not right in game 4, and that's why he sat out game 5, because he couldn't go and he wasn't supposed to go in game 4. Look, that's a big loss to that team, and it derailed
best player
them.
they had. Yeah, best player they had, and then you look at the fact you lose 9-3 in game 5.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even a question. It wasn't. You weren't in it.
Lost, when they found out that he wasn't going to play, I think the team just gave up. To be honest with you,
does Vegas have the formula to repeat, Ron?
No, I think. Look, they just. I don't want to say they got lucky. I don't want to say that, because winning the Stanley Cup is the most difficult thing to do in probably all of sports. And people are going to disagree with that, but it is a grind playing all those games against, quality opponents in the NHL. That is a grind, and it is not easy. Probably the hardest thing, and Super Bowl, probably I would say number 2, really close number 2. But that was, hey, look, they did something the Bruins couldn't do. And, they did get a scare, I mean, they handled their business, but, it wasn't easy for them. But it is the West, Eric, and we keep talking about.
But that's what you were saying, right? And a Western Conference team wins it. When you said the East, by far the worst team in the East
is better.
It's better than the first place team in the West, and yet you saw the West win it.
Yeah, and that's just that's just the way things happen. In the NHL, you can't take a shift off in the playoffs. you take a shift off, you're giving up a goal. And, when you have a team that gets a goaltender that really rises to the occasion, and that is a big part of why they did it, and you get some of those role players that stepped up and they came through. And that is what it's all about. It goes beyond the stars, not even the Dallas Stars. It goes beyond
Hey,
the actual stars of the
that was
team.
pretty good, bro.
I mean, when we talk about what wins championships, it's those third and fourth lines. That's what wins those championships. Because those are the important things. We know the first line and the second lines, they're going to do what they have to do to play the games, and they get more of the focus. But the ones that win it are the third and fourth liners. And if you look through all of history, there's always that one guy that steps up and plays, beyond their capabilities, whether it's defensively or offensively.
And I think, listen, you could even say on their first line, Jack Eichel. This guy was
Fantastic.
right.
Yeah.
There was a lot of questions about when he was in Buffalo and when they moved him there. Like, he was one of these players that most people weren't sure what kind of player he was going to be.
Yeah.
The expectation was very high for him, but
Yeah,
he hadn't lived up to that expectation.
The expectation is that he scores, and he's a playmaker, and if he can do that and exceed at that, then great. But it wasn't just that.
Yeah, no,
They
I'm
were
just saying though, if you look
defensively-
at, to your point, a guy taking that next leap,
right,
he was a guy that we kept sitting back and waiting for him to be this guy.
He doesn't have it. He doesn't have what
Yeah.
it takes. And then he showed what it takes.
Yeah. No, listen, congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights,
Yeah.
2023 Stanley Cup champions. Obviously, we'll be doing some preview shows coming up in, September. And I'm sure, listen, we'll be talking about this.
Look, and
But
Bruce Cassidy did a great job with that team. It was designed, for him. Like we talked about this, he does very well with veterans. You get those veterans, those players that have been around now, and he flourishes with them. He struggles when it comes to younger players, and that's why he had a problem in Boston, because they had a group of those younger players that he just couldn't deal with. And so going to Vegas, he had the players that he wants, and he can show you what he can do with those players.
No, congratulations, Bruce Cassidy, Vegas Golden Knights. Outstanding job getting that. And again, beating a team that we all had just said, look, they had figured it all out because of the teams they were beating in the East.
Yeah.
So great job to them. Ron, it is pick and roll time.
It's time for pick and roll.
So we pick them and then we got to roll with them. And this week's topic, these 6 players were all drafted in 1999, so 24 years ago. And they all were all-star at some point in their career. And that was Josh Hamilton, Josh Beckett, Barry Zito, Ben Sheets, Alex Rios, and Mike McDougall. We're going to rank them from 6 to 1. I am first this week, so I will start us off.
It's not a good list.
I thought they were going to be better quality, and there wasn't. Excuse me. At 6, I had Mike McDougall. 18 and 23, looks like a middle reliever. 4.00 ERA, 71 saves, 325 strikeouts, 1 All-Star appearance. So he drafted in 99. They all made the All-Star. He made it once, so he's on this list.
Yeah.
At 5, I had Ben Sheets. And watch how you say that, Ron, because I'm sure when YouTube decides they're going to put our little caption, that may come out a little different. Sheets. Ben Sheets, 94 and 96, a losing record in his career, 3.78 ERA, 1,325 strikeouts, 4 All-Star appearances. At 4, I had Alex Rios, 277 batting average, 1,778 hits, 169 home runs, 794 RBIs, 885 runs, 2 All-Star appearances, did have 1 championship. The next three guys, decent careers, but nothing crazy. Josh Beckett at 3, 138 and 106, 3.88 ERA, 1,901 strikeouts, 3 All-Stars, 2-time champion. Still don't want to talk about that. At 2, I had Barry Zito, 165 and 143, 4.04 ERA. The reason why I put him ahead of Beckett is because he did win a Cy Young. So at one point, he was considered the best pitcher during his span, at least once. 3 All-Stars and 1 championship. At 1, and unfortunately, substance abuse probably ruined this man's career, but Josh Hamilton actually would have had an unbelievable career if he could have just figured out those personal demons, because 290 batting average, 1,134 hits, 200 home runs, 701 RBIs, 609 runs. But during a span, 5 All-Stars, 3 Silver Sluggers, a batting title, Major League Baseball Player of the Year. He won an MVP one year, and he was the number 1 pick in the 1999 draft. So he lived up to some of that potential. But again, substance abuse definitely ruined what could have been an amazing career there. But that's how I had it. Josh Hamilton at number 1.
All right. At number 5, I have Alex.
You didn't even give McDougal a 6?
Oh, I didn't even list him as number 6.
Poor guy.
I didn't even give him that.
Wow.
18 and 23, 4.0. You know, I mean,
you like to alter these lists every week now, by the way, but go ahead.
He barely played, dude. He barely
Thank
played.
You, Dan.
So McDougal was, I guess you can say, number 6, but I didn't even give him a number. Number 5, I had Ben Sheets. Yeah, you're right. Losing record.
Yeah.
But his ERA was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But he just played for a bad team.
Agreed.
So you can't win if your team can't score. So, yeah. So, I mean, 4 All-Star appearances, though.
Yeah.
So he's a good pitcher.
Yeah, he
just couldn't win a game.
Quality.
Then I have at number 4 Alex Rios, like you had. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He's a pretty nice player, you know, and he's still going. Probably too long right now, but you know, him and his 4 home runs. You know, I think last season. You know, that was pretty special. But yeah, 2 All-Stars and a World Series. He was, I'm sure, a major contributor to that. Wow. All right, so number 3, I actually have Barry Zito.
Okay.
I think he was a really good pitcher. You know, and he did have that Cy Young award, but he was only 21 games over 500.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough. And neither is his 4.04. You know, I think he's a better pitcher than that. But when you get left hung out to dry when you're in those Oakland years and, you know, and then injury prone after that, you know, that takes a toll. And so I definitely would have taken Josh Beckett over him. And Josh Beckett, I put at number 2, you know, 32 games over 500, 3.88, very respectable, you know, 1,900 Ks, you know, 3 All-Stars, 2 World Series. You remember that one, right? One of those?
No.
Yeah, you remember those.
I don't think I do. I don't.
A World Series MVP. You know, yeah, he didn't have the Cy Young like Zito, but he was more durable, and I would take Beckett over him. But Josh Hamilton was a good player. He was nice.
He really was.
He could have been, you know, doubled his numbers if
not for the substance abuse.
Yeah.
Dan wants you to wake up. He said it looks like you're sleeping.
Okay. Yeah.
You're a little out there, my friend.
Yeah, okay.
But listen.
That's why I do this. You don't, Dan.
Woo! Wow, let's just attack everybody now.
That's right. No Christmas card from Dan.
No Christmas card from Dan. So, Ron, it is the time of the show where our fans that are out there get to participate and get on our list. And we had some newbies last week little excited about predictions. We're starting to see some names get up on that list. Video games, first week last week, video games 1986-1 last week,
Wow.
85%. I went 7-1. Ron, you went 6-2. Chakra 4-0 last week, perfect. And the games you picked, 6-6 now on the season. So let's see if you could get over 500. Dan, let's get you on this list this week as we do our predictions. We'll make sure we add you. Let us know who you're picking in these games. So it's a little weird now, man. No more basketball, no more hockey for a bit. We still got to wait for some football. So we're gonna be struggling here a little bit. But we're gonna do some Major League Baseball to start us off. And
I know NASCAR this week.
There was no race this week.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no race this week. 6/16. So it starts tonight. Another weekend adventure between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Last week, we picked New York, and Boston ended up beating them 2 out of 3 games and winning that series. So we both lost that. So my dumb persona decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick New York Yankees again this week. And that's who I went with. I went with the Yankees. I still think they're the better team.
I'm going the Yankees as well. If not for anything, maybe Boston can win another couple because I'm picking the Yankees.
Boston in a sweep, Dan's got him.
Yeah, he's out of his mind. Boston can't even sweep up their dugout.
Woo. Chakra, if you're still on, let's get a pick in. New York Yankees at the Boston Red Sox. Kenny, if you're still on, New York Yankees at the Boston Red Sox. That is our first game that we are predicting. Or first series, let me say, not game.
Yeah, series.
6/19, Ron. The first place Arizona Diamondbacks at the Milwaukee Brewers. That's a 3-game series.
Where's Baltimore?
Baltimore's in second.
Damn.
Tampa Bay.
Remember, I said that.
Yeah, future prospects.
Minnesota, Baltimore,
yeah,
Arizona, and Milwaukee could all be in first place.
Yes, sir, you did.
I just need Baltimore.
Unreal. So who do you got? Arizona Diamondbacks at the Milwaukee Brewers.
I'm taking Milwaukee at home.
You went Milwaukee. I went Arizona. I'm gonna believe I'm drinking out of that Kool-Aid right now.
Well, wouldn't it be tea?
It might be a Diamond. Actually, wouldn't it be like a Venom?
It would be Arizona tea.
Or it could be a Diamondback is the Venom.
So I expect the proceeds for that sponsor.
I think that's Arizona. I think Axe. I'm gonna go Arizona with Dan, Arizona. All right. WNBA action. Ass. I don't. AZ. Dan, AZ. We're getting there. You're so close. Flip that S around, my friend.
And he tells me I need to wake up.
Oh, boy. 6/18. You got the Connecticut Sun at the Los Angeles Sparks. Listen, Sun have had the best record in the WNBA. Sparks 5-4, I believe, so far this season. I'm going Connecticut here. I think they're the much better team.
Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely a better team. I will go Connecticut as well.
Connecticut Sun. Dan, you got a pick on that one? Sun, good job. Chakra, a little disappointed here, Chakra. Chakra's like, I'm just going to stay at 500. I'm breaking even right now.
He's waiting for the MLS.
6/22. You got the Washington Mystic at the Chicago Sky. That's, again, another WNBA matchup. Ron, who do you have?
I'm going to go the Sky.
Sky's the limit, my friend. Good job. Sky is the limit. I went Sky as well. Again, defending champions.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, they still know how to win. I mean, the Aces look pretty good this year as well. But I went Chicago as well. Chicago Sky. Dan, do you have a pick on that one? Chicago in a shootout.
Shootout.
I like it. We should probably put that in there. Like if it is a shootout, then Dan wins regardless. 6/17. You got some MLS action. That's Nashville Soccer Club versus St. Louis City Soccer Club.
Oh, this ought to be a shootout.
A shootout. I went.
Actually ending in a shootout.
Oh boy. I went Nashville here. Nashville going a little Tennessee action.
Where's St. Louis in the standings?
I think they're both they're both 7 wins. They both have 7 wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna go St. Louis. I'm gonna
Okay.
go different. I should say a tie actually.
Too late. You already said St. Louis.
That's not too late.
It's too late because Dan already gave his pick. Nashville doing a little country action. 6:21. You got the Houston Dynamo Football Club versus the San Jose Earthquakes, Ron.
I'm gonna go with the San Jose Earthquakes.
They're really shaking it up over there.
Yeah, they are. They
They
are.
really are shaking it up over there. I went to Earthquakes as well. I like San Jose Earthquakes. I think got some family out in San Jose. They're tuning in. Check us out.
They have a couple of players that really make you quake in your shoes.
Yes, they do. They do. They make the earth move. Yes, they do. They do. Dan, is this another shooter? Dan, San Jose. All right, Dan. Last game here was 6:17. Tomorrow, you got the Birmingham Stallions versus the Memphis Showboats in a USFL action. Ron, we got to go back with the Stallions, baby. We're back. The Stallions are back.
You have to.
Right?
The Italian Stallions.
They are the most dominant team in the USFL, the Birmingham Stallions. We're going to stick with them. They really haven't let us down.
No,
Dan,
they haven't.
I know Dan's been watching USFL.
But I just hope they're not on their high horse.
Burn. He wants the Birminghams.
Nothing on that one? Really?
I didn't hear what
I just hope they're not on their high horse.
Oh, boy. That was great. Ron, that was a great prediction segment. And before we move on to our final thoughts, can you tell all the wonderful people out there how they could sponsor this amazing show, Sports Unfolded?
I can't even see now.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. You don't like the nay joke either?
No, I don't.
Oh, Jesus. Tough crowd, I'll tell you. All right, you can sponsor the show. It's really, really easy. All you have to do is send us an email to allrightbroadcasting.media@gmail.com, and we'll send you all the information that you need to know. But it's really simple. It costs less than going to your local coffee establishment and getting a coffee and a donut. It's that inexpensive. So just send us an email, and like I said, if you sell toothpicks, can sponsor the pick and roll. It's all
bakery pick and roll, right? Nice pick and roll.
Yeah,
I will also say, if you'd love to follow the show, check us out. Tick has been running all the social media platforms. We are on SEC TV, public access, Channel 12 in Southeast Connecticut every Tuesday night as well, 10 p.m. If you are watching us there, check us out live Friday night, 6 p.m. on Rhode Island Broadcasting, and be a part of the show. We love to have the fan participation. It's been a great participation tonight with Dan, Chakra, Kenny. You guys have been amazing tonight. Ron, it is time for final thoughts, and our final thoughts don't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. No. It could be about anything going on in the world today. Anything. I am first this week. I will start us off, and I will say that we are a family-friendly show, and we try to keep it family-friendly. So I will say this POS, and you guys can fill in whatever you want on that. Conor McGregor, who is now being accused of sexual assault during, I believe it was Game 4 of the Miami Heat Denver Nuggets series. At some point, your name can only get you so far. At some point, there's going to be people that are just so turned off, regardless of what you can do in an octagon or what you sell from a whiskey or anything else you do. You have an opportunity that most of us don't have, where you made millions of dollars and were able to, travel the world and see many things and do many great things. And yet you continuously have these issues that pop up. And I'm not saying he's guilty or not guilty, but how at some point keeping yourself out of trouble and not even putting yourself in positions to be mentioned, named, in any of these allegations. That would be a better idea and role model for some of these kids that may have grown up seeing you, wanted to be like you, and now all of a sudden this is another situation that you've been involved with, and a serious one at that. We don't condone any kind of acts of violence or assault against women. Again, let's just see how this all turns out. But again, keep your name out of it. I'm getting tired of hearing these guys. Some of these guys just don't know how to stay out of trouble. I think there's a whole Hall of Fame group of those guys that just somehow are consistently being mentioned in the wrong way. So, that sucks. And unfortunately, here we go again with another one. And I do want to wish all the fathers out there a very happy Father's Day this Sunday. My family as well. I appreciate all the happy Father's Days that I've already received. And I want to wish all the fathers out there a very happy Father's Day this Sunday. Ron, those are my final thoughts.
Okay. I'm just expecting maybe a couple more,
I do have another one, actually. No, I'm just...
No, my final thought, first of all, that was very well said, by the way. Goes out to the Joker. When you look at a player, and you just talked about Conor McGregor, another one of these guys, how are people looking up to Ja Morant when you got guys in this league that do the right thing? Even when they win, they basically go and console the whole opponent team before he even starts to celebrate. That's a class act right there. Everything he has done, everything he has said, you don't find a bit of trouble in anything he has done. And those are the role models we need to look up to. Those are the players that should be the face of the leagues.
100%.
And that goes for all those players that do the right thing in each league. And there are lots of them. I think we just need to set our standards a little higher on who our role models are.
Ron, I love that. Where's Joker's endorsements now? Let's start to see that. Yep. Get him a sneaker deal. Get him on one of these, soda companies or whatever, right? Like that's a guy that you can respect.
And you talk about some players, like look at Gronkowski, for instance. There's a guy that knows how to have a good time, right? But when does he put himself into trouble?
Agreed.
You can still do it and stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
If Gronk can do it and he's a big partier, we all know, but he doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah. No,
so you can do it.
Very well said. Ron, it's been a fun show. All our fans out there that joined us live, Dan, Kenny, Chakra, thank you for joining us live. If you'd like to donate stars and bits, we do appreciate anything you can do to help contribute to our show. Again, continue to follow us, all our social media platforms. Love to get that sponsor. Ron talked to you about that. Let's get a sponsor for Sports Unfolded. We will be back next week. And can't wait to see. We'll be talking NBA draft. I'm sure there'll be some NFL news out there. And we'll continue. Chakra, again, thank you for tuning in tonight. Ron, I will see you next week, my friend. You take care. Everybody out there, all we ever ask for every single week is peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.